Hi, it's Xavier and welcome to my bonsai retreat, and today I've got a special one for you because when I was recently at the Doncaster Boot Fair I saw an incredible pot from China Mist. It's so good it's even got a number. I loved it, but I really struggled to know what to put in it, and after a lot of advice from them they suggested me to either a semi-cascade or perhaps some sort of windswept design. I remembered I had this larch which was a Yamadori Larch dug up from Wales in I think 2013, 2014. I got it in 2015 and it's probably one of my early videos actually. Now, yep, it was repotted 2 years ago, so I could quite happily leave it for another year. This is it now and I love it, but it has got that natural windswept. And the only other sort of semi-cascade I had was what I call my gonzo elm with the great big hook nose. And no matter how much I'd like to go for that, I just don't think it's ready yet to be put into a decent pot. Do you want to see the pot? I bet you do. Well, this is it, and in fact I can see its serial number. It's 7455. But I saw this and I just fell in love with it. I walked up and down past it 3 times and can say now this is the most I've ever spent for a pot. So I'm going to be putting it into this with the obviously the windswept going over that way, and hopefully, because it's been repotted recently, it shouldn't take too long. But I've got to get a hat first because I'm going to cook. Now this has still got a lot of the buds. I didn't prune it last autumn, so I'm literally just going to be going around and picking where I want my my next set of buds to be from. It's often as easy as 1, 2, 3, to be honest. We've seen, in fact, if you want to see a really top-notch video about pruning larch, in fact the 3 stages, which is now May, September, August, that's 4. In fact there's 5 if you count the late autumn, and I go through in great detail how I actually get the best from my larch pruning. But it's all about finding appropriate buds that are going to point the next shoots in the direction you want, and that's all I'm doing here. Where I can avoid it, I'm probably not up for wiring, but again with larch you can quite happily wire them. It really is directional pruning. So if we look back here, I've got a bud there and a bud there, cut back to there. Now that one here is, I'm probably not going to want it. We look further up on this branch, we've got these 2 here and then 2 here and then the third. I'll actually cut to that one. And you may wonder why I'm not holding on these, but to be honest, there's a good chance they're going to be cones. So I've always find I struggle to get any usable new shoots from them. So I'll take the 3 here, and I'll either have 1 there and 1 there, or I'll have both of those going out. And that's basically what I'll do, following that same principle. Any buds that are pointing upwards, I won't want, I'll get rid of them. And just sort out anything I don't like. Larch are very, very vigorous, so long it's healthy, you can do an awful lot of pruning back on buds. There we go. So yeah, I'll keep working my way around that one. I mean, if you look here, we've got this great big long length coming up here. Absolutely no good to anybody. It's actually pointing in the wrong direction, so we'll just get rid of it. Again, with larch, I do tend to wire them more often, simply because the way the branch structure is, it often isn't pointing where you want it. I think I find the hardest thing with these is the cones. You know, if 1 year you can get loads of cones of these, and you've often got to wait for the cone to fruition, and you might get out the top another shoot, but you've got this great big cone in the middle of it. Terrible really. So these are pruned back as far as I'm going to. Well, firstly we're going to save that bit of rock, but I thought it'd be quite interesting. As I say, this has been in this soil for 2 years. It's a free draining mix, and I'll be very interested to see how the roots have actually performed all this tree in 2 years. So let's get it out, shall we? Straight away, encouraging, it came out as 1 hump. I was using the green mesh netting. I think I'm going to use that for something else. It's not absolutely root bound, that's for sure. I could have left it in that probably for another 2 years. To get rid of some of the weeds, just take the top off. I don't intend to muck about with the root plane on this at all. We're literally going to do a drop it in place, I think. Still looking at this, I think I was still looking at 50% organic mix. There's definitely a lot of organic in there. Yeah, there's definitely some circling going on there. So we've got some roots here which we'll clip back. Perfectly good soil. What I'll do is I'll store this in a bag somewhere, black bag, and somewhere in the middle of summer I'll sieve this down. Normally I use the recycled stuff for all my nursery stock or stuff like that. Okay, well there it's going to sit like that. Oh yes, this is the right pot. Well, I think it is anyway. I shall secure it in place with the wires just going across, through and under. But yeah, I like that a lot. Give me a thumbs up and a yay in the comments if you agree. 100% better than what I was originally thinking of. Yeah. Oh, lovely. Just wondering whether I put something like that there. You think if I put just a little rock just to sort of, don't know, I'll have a look. Let's get that secured down first. Well, I am definitely happy with how it's looking in that pot. What do you think? Yes or no for the rock? I know I can tend to be a bit of a, my default position is if I can put a rock on it, I do. In my head I'm thinking sort of, you know, back in the sort of Jurassic period, so it's, you know, really old. If I could find a dinosaur there, if I could fit, I would definitely put that on there. I'll tell you what is amazing. The difference a pot can do to a tree. And this tree is by no means anywhere near finished. We're just starting to work on secondary development. Say, dug up in 2015, 2014. So where are we? Year 9. Interesting. But I'll say straight away to China Mist, brilliant, thank you very much. This is a brilliant pot. Probably won't go for this front because that branch is on the back. So that's the front there. I'll have a little play around and then we'll have a little chat about it. Well, there's no doubt about it. I put a little bit of moss around there because I had a little bit left over from my my little slate and lava rock penjing, which if you haven't seen, I know it doesn't grab the viewers because it hasn't got the right title or it's not a Japanese maple, but it's probably one of my best bits of work and I'm really happy with it. So if you haven't seen it, links up there. It is a brilliant little example of what you can do for nothing with very little skill, which is me. Yeah, so a bit of moss there, but there it is. Now I appreciate there wasn't a lot that went on. Obviously all the main work on this got done 2 years ago. This is just about how a pot can change a tree. That was what was originally in it. Just like that. And what a difference. You let me know in the comments if you think it was worth it. I'm not going to tell you how much it was, but it's more than I normally pay. So, with that in mind, I've got 2 other larch-related things. Both will be quite quick, but very different subjects, but all on the larch repot style. So, let's move over to the second one, shall we? I think this one is an example of what happens when you just buy the wrong sort of tree. This is what took me down to Wales, funny enough, where I got all those Yamadori Larch. This was the one that actually made me go there, and I not being too brutal, I actually paid quite a lot of money for that. I think I paid 50 quid or something. And out of all the 13 or 14 trees I brought back with me, this is the worst. If you see, there'll be pictures up there going now. This originally had 5 trunks or 5 branches coming from it. And always very two-dimensional. Appalling tree. I have no idea why I picked it. But I have decided to do something quite brutal with it. Because it's doing nothing. I can't see a way forward, but I think if we looked at it that way, with that being the trunk line, there's potentially a decent tree there. But to do that, I'm actually going to put a wire on there, and I'm going to see if I can get some ground layer roots. But first thing, we need to get rid of that branch, I think. So, boy. I'm just going to finish nibbling this away. Okay, well I've cleaned it up, put some putty in. There's either, if we stuck with it, we've got that angle there, which I don't know, or we can go around that way and got that angle there. Now this branch is just too long. Even if I was being really, there's nothing about this branch I like, I can tell. Just too much here, there isn't. Don't know whether I can even bending it. So no, I think I'm going even more upright. I know we've got this nasty bit here, but let's commit. I mean, I know it's not a natural gin point, but potentially there's something there. Anyway, it's better than what we've got. Now I've sealed that. I am going to go for this wire here. But first of all, I need to get out of this because I want to get into some deeper soil so the existing roots that are there also get a good chance to get some energy. So let me get out of this first. So, very, very damp. This, really, really nice. This is one of the original pots I bought back in 2002. Now I don't actually want to break up any roots that are alive. I just want to put it into a, what I call an ideal, not a lot of roots there to be honest. It's been in there for years. Yes, it's never been happy. It's got this big circular root that goes all the way around as well, which I never ever resolved. Now looking at this, there's a really strong argument for recognising that even trying to do that operation there now, it may not be the best time to do it, and it'd probably be, I'll get an awful lot more success if I actually let it regain some vigour with the roots it's got. But I'm not waiting. I'll see how it goes. So let's get this into something that is there any way I could take those roots with it? Any way at all? There's nothing on this side, so no, I'm going to stick with my idea. And even though it's likely that the whole base is going to be lost, I still want to put in the best soil I can, because those roots, they're there, but they're certainly not healthy, and I need those roots to really get some health if this is to have any hope of working. Under ideal circumstances, to try something like this, you actually want the tree itself to be pretty healthy, because I'm going to ask a lot of it. Okay, so now I want to put the wire around it. So I need to get this wire in the best possible place to actually give me what I want if it's going to do roots. Now I'm aware that here I've got a really bad trunk scar, so chances are I'm not going to get roots all round. Nice and tight. Oops. Well, it broke, but it's in tight. I'll take that as a meaning that it's tight enough on there. That's all I've done now. Put a little container around it. I just need to secure that so it'll be weatherproof, and I'll put the soil in there. I did think about using sphagnum moss actually, but we'll try soil first of all. Who else has ever come across the problems with 1mm wire? It's too thin to put on a spool. Well, I should have really. When you just can't find the end because you've been careless with it. Oh, no. Oh, yep, got a bit. Yep. I think it's from the bottom actually. Oh, no, there it is. Okay. Yep, I was taking that from the bottom. I hate wire. Because what you end up doing is getting frustrated, so you just end up cutting and then you just break all over the place. Right. So, I'll do that. Get this tied around. Now obviously it's pretty well similar to trying to do an air layer, and it may well be that come the end of May I may actually take this off, have a look at it and then go for an air layer. I'll be interested to know what everyone else's comments are on this, and whether this should work fine or whether I should just look at doing a traditional air layer on that gap. Oh, I'll tell you what is good. I've never tried this before, and I'll be really interested to see how it works out. As I say, I'm sure there's some well-trained people out there who can tell me exactly what's going to happen. So please, if you're uncertain yourself, you don't necessarily need to follow what I'm doing. Wait and find out the results. My only fear is that potentially the wire isn't deep enough yet, and we'll be relying then on the growth coming from letting this thing, which means I certainly won't be pruning this. Okay, so that's where we are with that. Again, I'll just leave it, let it grow as much as it will. Definitely, please put down in the comments what you think, whether or not you think I should probably go for trying an air layer, although the place where it isn't ideal for an air layer. But again, I could just ring bark it and actually try and do a ground layer properly rather than just using the wire. Let me know, and in which case I'm presuming I'll do that at the end of May like I do all my air layers. Sometimes when you've got a problem tree, even if you've bought it yourself and completely nutty, I don't know why I bought it, you know, you have to rethink. And it's taken me several years to eventually get to the point, you know, every couple of years I've removed one of the 5 branches. So we're just down to 2 now. Fingers crossed, we may get a decent tree out of it. So what's the final one I'm going to fill this brilliant episode with? Well, I'm glad you asked. Yeah, this actually is one of 20-30 saplings that I bought back in 2018, 2019. It's been ignored mainly, although I have done some pruning on it. What I noticed when I was looking for potential candidates for the slate penjing is I like the way this has been developing. So I'm going to put it in a pot and continue the development. I think there's some lovely movement in there. You have to make some decisions about a branch, that branch there actually. Yeah, there's 3 from the same point there, but as we've seen in nature and as we've seen in some of the prize trees at the trophy, which this isn't, you often have more than 2 at a junction because that's nature. Thankfully I'm just a hobbyist, so no one expects much of me. Okay, well, let's have a quick look and see what this root ball's looking like. As I say, I know I've definitely had it in that for 2 years, and I was tempted to do it last year, but time got away with me. Now, is it ready for a bonsai pot? Well, I quite like the movement in there, so potentially, yeah. Let's see how it comes out anyway. We'll also see just how decent the roots are. Maybe it'll go pond basket. Okay, well, we seem to have a reasonable spread anyway. Got a big U-bend there, we don't want that. And that's an example of something that really should have been removed when I first looked at it. Some twisty wisties, get rid of them. Okay, I'm not going to take off any more than what I've just taken. Probably a pond basket, to be honest. I want the root system to get a lot better. A little securing. I want to keep it secure because it's very tall and narrow. I'll just slide it through there. Just need a protective sleeve for it. I'll sit through there. Oh, spread those roots out. And again, what this gives me the opportunity to do is I've radially spread what roots there are, and there's enough there. We should actually start achieving a much nicer root spread, root base, potentially for a decent nabari. Now, I don't see this tree being any taller than this in the long term, but I may let it grow so that I can thicken it up. Okay, well, that's securely in place. I've got to decide where I think. I'm sure the front is still going to be around there, which means this branch here, I need to look at it. I'm going to clip stuff back, and it's often as easy as 1, 2, 3. Starting at the top, in fact, let's go all the way back. And all I'm doing, you've seen it before, I'm just looking where the buds are. The aim is to try and keep the tree in closer right now. Yeah, so get rid of any inwards like that. Fussed on that particularly, or that. What I don't want to do is create further design flaws with it. I don't know yet whether I want that lower branch. That could potentially be the place to go, to be fair. In fact, let's make that decision now. I think the front is going to be somewhere around there, which there's no way of looking at it. That's a no-go. So we're going to get rid of that. Got that one first. That one first. Yeah, because these are going to come over. We've got these ones that are going to come out. I mean, they're almost opposite each other, but this is the only place where there's a, what I call a decent front. It's got nicely convex or concave, so that when it heals it'll roll over into the hollow, which is what you want. Nothing worse than actually trying to cut branches off flush, because all it does is it rolls out and up. Made those mistakes, still do. Looking at that, I suppose there's a couple of things that are obviously not going to happen. We're not going to have that one up there. Not sure about this one at the top. Okay, well that'll do for now. Okay, well there it is. So we've had three very different trees. We obviously had the nice big Yamadori dig tree that went into that China mist pot. Much more refined root structure, and that was all about getting into a pot that's going to actually match the tree for quality eventually. The second one was obviously where we had that issue with a 5 trunk tree that became a 3, 4, eventually now a 2 trunk tree, with the eventual aim that hopefully I can get some roots producing from higher up the trunk. And then finally this one, which again represents one of many larch, I say saplings, I mean these are now 5, 6 years old. I know they're thin, but that's because they've been kept in small pots. And this is me taking it on to the next stage. So hopefully you've got something out of this in 3 very different scenarios. And you know how much I love larch. If you're a beginner and you want a tree to really sink your teeth into, can't go very far wrong with Japanese larch. So much fun, so forgiving, and so many options. But if you don't know that, then surely you need to look at my Japanese larch species guide, which is probably somewhere up there. There'll be a whole load of links to the larch playlist and the description. I do urge you to have a look at that. But apart from that, if you've enjoyed this, big like. If you think someone else may benefit, then please share it. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, I do humbly plead and ask you to subscribe, because it helps me, because it tells Google that the content I'm providing is okay. It's entertainment. It's good enough to eat with your Rice Krispies. Apart from that, I wish you all the best. Happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.